something just happened at Mercedes that could rewrite the entire future of electric vehicles. For years, Tesla has been the name everyone associates with innovation. But what if I told you that Mercedes just quietly revealed a new kind of motor that outperforms anything Tesla has ever built? A motor so advanced that even Elon Musk's team is reportedly studying how it works. They call it the YASA Flux motor, and it's unlike any electric motor the world has ever seen. It's smaller, lighter, and somehow more powerful. This isn't just a step forward, it's a quantum leap that could make every current EV design instantly obsolete. So what exactly did Mercedes just invent, and how did they manage to hide it from the world for so long? Let's find out. While most of the world was distracted by Tesla's latest announcements, Mercedes quietly dropped a bombshell that very few people noticed. At a private event in Stuttgart, the company's engineers unveiled what they're calling the YASA Axial Flux motor, a design so compact it looks almost unreal. But the real surprise isn't how it looks, it's what it can do. Unlike traditional EV motors, which rely on heavy magnets and complex cooling systems, this one flips everything on its head. Instead of spinning around a long cylinder, it uses a flat disc-shaped rotor, meaning more torque, less heat, and almost zero wasted energy. In simple terms, it's like compressing the power of a sports car engine into something the size of a dinner plate. Mercedes didn't make a big show about it, either. There was no dramatic unveiling, no hype, just quiet confidence. And maybe that's what makes it even more intriguing, because companies only stay this quiet when they're holding something truly revolutionary. Insiders say the YASA team, a small startup Mercedes acquired a few years back, has been working in complete secrecy ever since. And now, with their new motor finally entering production, the rest of the auto world is realizing something shocking. Mercedes may have just leapfrogged Tesla in the one area Elon Musk thought he had complete control over, the heart of the electric car. But as powerful as this breakthrough sounds, the real story lies in why Mercedes developed it in the first place. To understand why this motor is such a game changer, you first have to know how it breaks every rule we've come to expect from EV engineering. Traditional electric motors, like those found in most Teslas, use what's called a radial flux design. Picture a spinning drum, where magnets rotate inside coils of copper wire. It's efficient, sure, but it also has limits, especially when you want both insane torque and high speed in one package. The YASA motor takes a completely different approach. It's built on axial flux technology, where the magnetic field flows sideways instead of around. This small change unleashes something remarkable, up to 3 times more power density and double the torque for the same weight. In fact, engineers say it can deliver the performance of a high-end sports car motor while being light enough to hold with one hand. And then there's the cooling system, or rather, the lack of one. The YASA motor runs so efficiently that it barely needs traditional cooling at all. Less heat means fewer components, lower maintenance, and more range. It's like Mercedes just found the missing piece that every EV manufacturer has been searching for. Even more shocking, this design uses far fewer rare earth materials, the expensive hard-to-source magnets that every EV company depends on. That means cheaper production, less environmental impact, and a faster path to mass adoption. In short, Mercedes didn't just make a better motor, they built the blueprint for the next generation of electric propulsion. But how did a company known for luxury sedans end up leading the charge in cutting-edge motor design? The answer lies in a bold acquisition that went almost unnoticed. Back in 2021, when most automakers were scrambling to catch up with Tesla's technology, Mercedes made a move that barely made headlines, but it changed everything. They acquired a small British startup called YASA, a company few outside the engineering world had ever heard of. Founded by Tim Woolmere, a former Oxford researcher, YASA had spent years developing a type of motor that experts once said was impossible to mass-produce. Mercedes saw what no one else did: potential. They didn't just buy YASA for its patents, they bought it for its future. Woolmere and his team had quietly perfected a motor that was lighter, smaller, and more efficient than anything on the market. In the world of EVs, that's the holy grail. After the acquisition, YASA didn't disappear, they went underground. Reports suggest Mercedes isolated the team, giving them complete freedom to innovate, without corporate pressure or deadlines. No flashy announcements, no teasers, just engineers working in silence. Now, years later, their creation has finally emerged, and it's already being used in Mercedes' top-tier electric models, starting with the AMG range. But insiders claim that's just the beginning. The ultimate goal isn't luxury performance cars, it's mass-market domination. Because once this technology becomes scalable, every car that uses it could be faster, cheaper, and more efficient than anything Tesla, Lucid, or Rivian currently offer. And the wildest part? Tesla once had the chance to do the same, but they passed it up. Long before Mercedes made its move, the idea of axial flux motors wasn't exactly new. In fact, several startups, including YASA, had tried pitching their designs to major automakers, hoping someone would take the risk. And according to industry insiders, Tesla was one of them. Back around 2015, YASA's engineers were reportedly seeking partners to help scale their unique motor design. They reached out to a handful of EV pioneers, including Tesla, to explore possible collaborations. But at the time, Elon Musk's team had just perfected their radial flux motor and were fully focused on ramping up Model 3 production. To them, YASA's idea looked too experimental, too costly, and too far from production ready.
So they passed.
It's ironic, because the very thing Tesla dismissed as too risky has now become the technology Mercedes is betting its entire electric future on. And it's not hard to see why. The YASA motor doesn't just outperform traditional designs, it fundamentally changes how electric cars are built. Lighter motors mean smaller batteries, longer ranges, and lower costs. For Tesla, that could have been a breakthrough worth billions. Now, Mercedes holds the patent rights and production advantage, while Tesla engineers are reportedly studying similar technologies to close the gap. It's one of those moments in tech history where one company's hesitation becomes another's revolution. But Mercedes isn't stopping at outperforming Tesla, they're planning something much bigger. Something that could redefine what an electric car even is. For Mercedes, this new motor isn't just about making faster cars, it's about rewriting the entire blueprint of how electric vehicles are designed, built, and sold. Behind the scenes, the company has been preparing for something far more ambitious than just keeping up with Tesla.
Their real goal?
Total energy efficiency dominance. According to insiders, Mercedes plans to use the YASA motor as the core of a new EV architecture, one that will power everything from performance sedans to compact city cars. This new setup could drastically reduce battery size and manufacturing costs, while improving driving range by up to 30%. That's not a small upgrade, that's a generational leap. But it goes even deeper. Mercedes engineers are exploring how these motors can work in modular systems, meaning one motor can fit different models, simplifying production and slashing costs. They're also testing advanced cooling materials and integrated control units that make the entire powertrain smaller and smarter. And here's where it gets interesting. Mercedes wants to build not just cars, but electric ecosystems. Charging networks, home energy systems, and AI-powered efficiency management, all connected through a single smart grid under the Mercedes brand. Imagine your car charging when energy is cheapest, optimizing routes based on weather and terrain, and syncing with your home's energy storage. That's the world Mercedes is quietly building. In short, while most automakers are still chasing range and speed, Mercedes is preparing to dominate the future of energy intelligence. But there's one major obstacle, a problem so big that even Mercedes can't completely control it. As groundbreaking as the YASA motor is, Mercedes still faces one giant problem: scaling. Building a prototype is one thing. Producing millions of them with perfect consistency is another story entirely. Axial flux motors demand extreme precision. Every component, from the magnets to the copper coils, has to be perfectly aligned. A single miscalibration can destroy efficiency or cause failure under high torque. That's why, for years, most automakers avoided this design altogether. It's simply too complex to mass-produce cheaply. Mercedes knows this, and that's why they've been quietly investing in new factories designed specifically for axial flux production. The first of these facilities is already operating in the UK, where YASA engineers are working alongside advanced robotics teams to automate the most delicate steps.
The goal?
To bring costs down enough that this motor isn't just for luxury models, it's for every Mercedes EV. But even if they pull that off, another storm is brewing: the global supply chain for rare materials. While the YASA motor uses fewer rare earth metals, it still depends on them. And with geopolitical tensions rising, especially in regions controlling those supplies, Mercedes could find itself at the mercy of global politics, not engineering.
And then, of course, there's Tesla.
While Mercedes builds quietly, Tesla adapts loudly. Rumors suggest Musk's engineers are already experimenting with their own axial flux prototypes, and they're not far behind. So the question becomes, can Mercedes scale this new revolution before Tesla catches up? Because if they can't, all this innovation could vanish into history as just another what if. But if they succeed, the balance of power in the electric car world might never be the same again. While Mercedes has been quietly perfecting the YASA motor, Tesla hasn't been idle. Sources close to the company say Musk's engineers are scrambling behind the scenes to analyze the axial flux design and figure out how to close the gap. Tesla's current radial flux motors have served them well, lightweight, reliable, and highly efficient, but the YASA motor exposes a glaring limitation. It delivers more power, less heat, and greater efficiency all in a smaller package. Suddenly, Tesla's designs feel a generation behind. Insiders report that multiple teams at Tesla are running simulations and building small prototypes to test axial flux technology. Some speculate they may even pursue partnerships with other motor specialists to accelerate development. But Tesla faces a tough race. Mercedes has a head start, patents, and production-ready prototypes already tested on real roads. The stakes are enormous. If Tesla doesn't innovate fast enough, its position as the global leader in EV performance could be challenged, not just in luxury segments but across mainstream markets. BYD, too, is quietly watching, ready to pivot if Mercedes brings this technology into affordable vehicles. This isn't just a technology battle, it's a war for the future of electric vehicles. Companies that hesitate could be left behind, while those that act decisively could define the next decade of automotive innovation. And while the industry scrambles to catch up, Mercedes is preparing the next big reveal, one that could show exactly how the YASA motor transforms real-world driving. Mercedes didn't just stop at building a revolutionary motor in the lab, they put it through a gauntlet of real-world testing that left even their own engineers astonished. The first prototypes were installed in the EQS, their flagship EV. Results were immediate. The car became 70 kilograms lighter, while the battery range increased by nearly 12%. It wasn't just numbers on paper. The driving experience felt sharper, more responsive, and smoother than any radial motor Tesla had produced. Next came the AMG series, where performance expectations are sky-high. The YASA motor shaved 0.7 seconds off the 0 to 100 km/h acceleration of the EQE and EQS models, without putting extra strain on the battery. Engineers ran the cars continuously for 24 hours on private tracks, pushing the motor to its limits. Surprisingly, it barely heated up, and power output remained steady the entire time. SUVs weren't left out either. The motors were tested in heavier XEV models. Even under extra weight and torque demands, the Flux motor delivered smoother acceleration, improved pickup, and extended battery efficiency. By 2024, Mercedes showcased the motor publicly in a private media demo. Observers were stunned when an EQS equipped with the Flux motor rocketed from 0 to 100 km/h in just 3.2 seconds, feeling more like a supercar than an electric sedan. They also ran side-by-side tests showing that the battery on a standard EQE drained while the Flux-equipped EQE could still go 50 kilometers further. These tests proved one thing: the YASA Flux motor wasn't just a concept or prototype. It was ready for production, capable of performing across every class of vehicle, from luxury sedans to high-performance SUVs. But Mercedes' innovation doesn't just threaten competitors on paper, it has the power to reshape the global EV market itself. Mercedes' reveal of the YASA Flux motor isn't just a technical breakthrough, it's a seismic shift in the global electric vehicle market. Suddenly, the playing field has changed, and every major automaker is scrambling to adjust.
For Tesla, this is a wake-up call.
The Flux motor delivers higher power, longer range, and lighter weight, all in a smaller footprint than their current radial motors. If Mercedes brings this technology to market first, Tesla could lose its edge in both performance and cost efficiency. BYD faces a similar challenge. Known for producing affordable EVs, they now risk being outclassed if Mercedes scales this motor to mass-market vehicles. Even companies like Volkswagen, Hyundai, and Ford must rethink their strategies. Their current focus on battery upgrades and vehicle design improvements won't be enough. The real game is the motor itself. The Flux motor demonstrates that power density and efficiency can redefine the economics of EV production, lowering costs while boosting performance and range simultaneously. Consumers stand to benefit the most. With lighter motors and better battery efficiency, EVs could soon achieve ranges of 800 to 1,000 kilometers. Charging times will drop, performance will feel more like traditional petrol cars, and production costs may decrease, making EVs more accessible to the average buyer. The ripple effects extend beyond just cars. Greater efficiency reduces battery demand per vehicle, easing supply chain pressures and potentially lowering environmental impact. Carbon emissions could decline faster as EV adoption accelerates, helping countries meet ambitious green targets. Mercedes has effectively set a new global benchmark. Any company that fails to respond risks falling behind in a market projected to have every second car sold as electric by 2030. The Flux motor isn't just innovation, it's a catalyst for a worldwide transformation in how vehicles are designed, built, and driven. For the average driver, the YASA Flux motor is more than just a technical marvel, it's a promise of a better, more practical EV experience. First, there's range. Because the motor is so lightweight and efficient, less energy is wasted, and the battery lasts longer. Imagine driving 800 to 1,000 kilometers on a single charge, something that was unthinkable for most electric cars just a few years ago. Long trips without constant recharging could finally become the norm. Second, there's performance. EV skeptics often complain that electric cars lack the excitement and responsiveness of petrol vehicles. With the Flux motor, that complaint fades. High torque, faster acceleration, and smoother handling mean EVs can finally deliver that sports car feel, even in SUVs or mid-range models. Then comes charging speed. Less strain on the battery allows it to charge faster, saving time and making EVs more convenient for daily use. Pair that with a longer-lasting battery, and EVs suddenly become practical for more people, not just tech enthusiasts or luxury buyers. Finally, there's cost. Because the Flux motor is easier and cheaper to produce than traditional radial motors, Mercedes can bring this technology into mass-market vehicles. That means more affordable EVs without compromising performance or range, forcing competitors to follow suit, ultimately giving consumers more options at lower prices. In essence, the YASA Flux motor doesn't just change Mercedes cars, it raises the standard for the entire EV industry. Faster, more efficient, more affordable, electric vehicles are about to become a compelling choice for everyone. Mercedes has made it clear, the YASA Flux motor is production-ready. After years of secret testing and refinement, the company is now moving into the final stages before a full-scale rollout. The first vehicles to feature this revolutionary motor will be part of the AMG series, targeting high-performance electric sedans and SUVs. Expect models like the AMG EQE and AMG EQS to showcase the motor's capabilities first, delivering sports car acceleration, longer range, and a smoother, more responsive driving experience. These launches are planned for late 2025 in Europe and North America, where EV demand is already high. By 2026, Mercedes intends to gradually introduce the Flux motor across other models, expanding into mid-range and entry-level EVs. This strategy ensures the technology scales without sacrificing quality, while slowly making it accessible to a wider audience. Asia, including countries like India, will see Flux-equipped vehicles around 2027 to 2028, giving Mercedes a strong foothold in emerging EV markets. Their ultimate goal? By 2030, every electric model in Mercedes' lineup will utilize the Flux motor, setting a new industry benchmark. This timeline also pressures competitors. Companies like Tesla, BYD, and Volkswagen will need to accelerate their own motor development or risk falling behind. For consumers, it means that within the next 5 to 7 years, Flux motor EVs will go from being a luxury option to a mainstream reality, faster, more efficient, and more affordable than anything currently on the road. The arrival of the YASA Flux motor doesn't just change Mercedes' lineup, it signals a tectonic shift for the entire auto industry. Companies can no longer rely solely on battery improvements or aerodynamic tweaks to compete. The motor itself has become the key battlefield. Major players like Tesla, BYD, Volkswagen, Hyundai, and Ford are now under pressure to innovate or risk losing market share. Flux technology has shown that a smaller, lighter, and more efficient motor can simultaneously improve performance, range, and cost, a balance that was previously impossible. Any manufacturer ignoring this shift could find their vehicles outdated in just a few years. For consumers, this means better EVs across the board. Expect longer ranges, faster acceleration, shorter charging times, and lower prices as automakers race to catch up. Even mid-range and budget vehicles could see performance previously reserved for luxury models. The global economy could also feel the effects. More efficient EVs will reduce reliance on raw materials and improve battery longevity, lowering costs and easing supply chain pressures. And environmentally, a faster transition to high-performance EVs could significantly cut carbon emissions worldwide. In essence, Mercedes hasn't just launched a new motor, they've set a new standard. The Flux motor is poised to reshape vehicle design, production, and consumption for the next decade, forcing every company to rethink what an electric car can truly be. The question now is simple: who will rise to meet this challenge, and who will be left behind? The introduction of the YASA Flux motor has sent shockwaves through the industry, and Tesla and BYD are feeling the heat. For Tesla, the challenge is immediate. Their radial Flux motors, though highly efficient, are now outclassed in both power density and efficiency. The Flux motor delivers higher torque, less heat, and longer performance endurance, all in a smaller and lighter package. If Mercedes scales this technology successfully, Tesla risks losing its performance edge, forcing them to either innovate rapidly or fall behind. BYD, on the other hand, has dominated the affordable EV segment by offering reliable vehicles at lower prices. But the Flux motor threatens that advantage. A lightweight, efficient motor means Mercedes could produce cars that are both high-performing and cost-effective, directly challenging BYD's market share. The company may need to invest heavily in R&D to stay competitive, an expensive and risky proposition. Even other giants like Volkswagen, Hyundai, and Ford cannot ignore this breakthrough. Flux technology isn't just about performance, it reduces production costs, allows for lighter batteries, and improves overall efficiency. Companies that fail to respond could see their EV offerings fall behind, while early adopters like Mercedes capture both high-end and mainstream buyers. In short, Mercedes isn't just competing, they're resetting the rules of the EV game, forcing every automaker to rethink strategy, redesign vehicles, and innovate faster than ever before. The most exciting part of the YASA Flux motor revolution isn't just for luxury car enthusiasts, it's for everyday drivers. This technology promises to make electric vehicles faster, more efficient, and more affordable for the average person. First, lighter motors mean longer battery life and extended range. With less energy wasted and lower vehicle weight, EVs can now realistically achieve 800 to 1,000 kilometers on a single charge, solving one of the biggest complaints about electric cars. Long-distance travel without frequent charging could soon become standard. Second, performance is no longer a compromise. Thanks to the Flux motor, mid-range EVs can offer acceleration and handling that rival high-end petrol cars. Smooth, responsive, and high-torque driving will make EVs enjoyable for all drivers, not just the tech-savvy or wealthy. Third, charging times improve. A more efficient motor puts less strain on the battery, meaning faster and safer charging. Long waits at charging stations may soon be a thing of the past, making EV ownership practical for daily commuting and road trips alike. Finally, production cost reductions mean more affordable EVs. As Mercedes scales this technology, competition will intensify, pushing prices down across the market. Consumers will benefit from more choices, better performance, and lower costs, creating a new era where EVs are not just a luxury but a mainstream, practical option. The Flux motor isn't just a technological upgrade, it's a complete shift in the EV experience, reshaping expectations for performance, efficiency, and accessibility. Mercedes has made it clear, the YASA Flux motor is no longer a futuristic concept, it's ready to hit the roads, and its rollout is carefully planned. The first vehicles to feature the Flux motor will be high-performance AMG models, arriving by late 2025 in Europe and North America. These cars will showcase the motor's true potential, lightning-fast acceleration, longer battery range, and a driving experience that rivals petrol supercars. By 2026, Mercedes intends to expand the motor to mid-range models, making the benefits of lighter, more efficient powertrains available to a broader audience. Entry-level EVs equipped with Flux technology are expected to follow soon after, gradually transforming the mainstream EV market. Asia, including India, will see Flux-equipped Mercedes vehicles around 2027 to 2028, ensuring that emerging EV markets are not left behind. By 2030, Mercedes plans for every electric model in its lineup to use the Flux motor, setting a new industry benchmark. This timeline is more than a schedule, it's a strategic blueprint for global domination in the EV sector. Competitors like Tesla, BYD, Volkswagen, and Hyundai will need to accelerate their innovation cycles just to keep pace. For consumers, this means that within the next 5 to 7 years, high-performance, efficient, and affordable EVs powered by the Flux motor will no longer be a rare luxury, they will be mainstream reality. Mercedes has not just created a motor, they've set the stage for the next era of electric vehicles, and the race to catch up has already begun. Most people get lost in technical jargon when it comes to motors, but the axial flux design behind the YASA motor is deceptively simple and brilliantly efficient. Unlike traditional radial motors, the Flux motor's magnetic field moves axially, like a fan spinning flat, rather than radially like a wheel. This reduces energy loss, minimizes heat, and allows engineers to pack more power into a smaller, lighter motor. We'll break down how this design works in plain language and why it's a total game changer for EV performance and efficiency. Mercedes isn't hiding the Flux motor in standard sedans first, it's debuting it in AMG supercars. This section highlights how high-end models like the AMG EQS and EQE are taking advantage of the Flux motor. The acceleration, torque, and responsiveness are so impressive that even petrol supercars feel outclassed. We'll show how these vehicles redefine what an electric car can feel like on the road, combining luxury, speed, and efficiency in one package. Creating a Flux motor is far from simple. Mercedes has invested in custom factories and advanced robotics to produce these motors at scale. Each motor requires precision alignment of magnets and copper windings, even a tiny error can destroy efficiency. Here we explore the behind-the-scenes innovations, from robotics-assisted assembly to new materials, that make mass production possible without sacrificing performance. The Flux motor isn't just about speed and range, it's also about sustainability. Because it's smaller, lighter, and more efficient, vehicles consume less energy per kilometer. Batteries last longer, fewer rare earth materials are needed, and production emissions drop. This section will discuss how Mercedes' innovation could accelerate the global EV transition, reduce reliance on fossil fuels, and contribute to a cleaner planet. By 2030, with Flux motors widely adopted, the EV landscape will look completely different. Consumers can expect more affordable, high-performance EVs across all segments. Competition will drive rapid innovation, battery technology will improve alongside motor efficiency, and traditional petrol vehicles will become increasingly niche. This section explores the broader market and lifestyle implications, showing how Flux technology might redefine transportation, city planning, and even daily commuting. The YASA Flux motor isn't just another step in electric vehicle technology, it's a revolution. From high-performance AMG supercars to affordable mass-market EVs, this innovation promises more power, longer range, lighter weight, and lower costs. Mercedes has quietly set a new global benchmark, forcing every major automaker to rethink their strategies and innovate faster than ever. For everyday drivers, this means EVs will no longer feel like compromises. Faster acceleration, extended range, quicker charging, and lower prices will make electric cars a practical and exciting choice for everyone. For the auto industry, it signals a shift in the competitive landscape, where motor technology, not just battery size, defines success. The ripple effects extend beyond cars. From environmental benefits to economic impacts, Mercedes' Flux motor is poised to accelerate the global transition to sustainable transportation. Tesla, BYD, and other competitors now face immense pressure to catch up, while consumers stand to gain better vehicles at lower costs. In short, the YASA Flux motor isn't just shaping Mercedes' future, it's reshaping the entire world of electric vehicles. The EV race has entered a new era, and Mercedes is leading the charge. The question now isn't if other companies will follow, but how fast they can catch up. The future of driving is here, lighter, faster, and more exciting than ever, and it's called Flux.